I had a very interesting turn of events this past Friday night radio broadcast. I have a radio broadcast where I take phone calls and questions live. I report a little bit on the happenings and the things that are going on around the world, as well as more than anything about the faith. But I had a different turn of events this past Friday night. I had a nurse call in, a concerned nurse, someone who actually works in the nursing field itself in New York. And she had some shocking, very shocking news that the people need to hear. And I really do appreciate her calling in. But I had somebody to make this video, and then they send it to me. And so now I'm sending it to you for all the, those of you who did not make the radio broadcast. You probably, if you're not doing anything on Friday nights, you probably should maybe try to think about chiming in and listening in. But anyway, give an ear and listen to this very, very important and informative news that this particular nurse had for all of us.
Phone call. All right, let's go to the last phone call. New York, caller number 47347. This is Pastor Dowell. You're on Straight With You Radio broadcast. How may I help you?
Yes, hello, Pastor Dowell. Thank you very much for taking my call. I appreciate it. And you're a source of great comfort. I follow you on YouTube. This is the first time I've heard this program, so I'd just like to say thank you. I am in a bit of a dilemma. I can actually say I'm not in a safe place if we're referring to the physical. I'm here in New York, and I'm also in healthcare, and I can say in both of these states, I'm watching hell be unleashed.
Wow.
Actually unleashed. It's horrible what's happening to people and what's happening with the situation here.
Yeah.
It's horrible what's happening in healthcare. And I prayed on this, and I didn't get an answer that at least I could understand. And then at some point I was actually crying, and I see what's coming just by looking in these people's eyes and looking at the behavior. And I was actually, crying as I'm praying and saying, I don't want to walk through this. And I know you have to sign off, Pastor, but I'm in healthcare. Can I just send a little bit of a warning to the listeners about healthcare, if it's okay?
By all means, have fun. Go ahead.
The new system that's coming in that they refer to Obamacare is going to be less about care than it is about tracking and surveillance. We were actually told by our CEO that they're going to be paid when this system comes in at 2014. They're going to receive their monies from the government, and it's going to be to give less care, not more. Also, the system is actually set up when it's fully set up to be able to track you wherever you go. Now, in the past, if you came in and let's say there was domestic abuse or something happened with a child or whatever it is, you might be able to say it in confidence to the nurse or the doctor. When this system fully comes in, and it started already, people need to know you're not going to be talking to a nurse or a doctor. You're going to be speaking to a government employee who is now recording things for the government. So when you come in and they give information, they need to be aware of the fact that the government now is listening in and trying to collect information. They will also try to profile people. In other words, if they're patriots or they're people who just seem a little unusual, as doctors and nurses, they're going to be taught to profile these people and to report on them. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's what's going to happen. Another thing that is occurring is when they come in, they're given a barcode, and they'll also maybe ask, can we take your picture? And that picture will go in this computerized database. I would suggest that people say, no, I know what I look like. There's no need for them to have the picture, and I can see scenarios in the future where them having your picture might be a disadvantage. Something else that is occurring is They are even trying to force healthcare workers to take vaccines that we don't want under threat. And this was challenged a few years ago in the courts, and they haven't given up. They are also pushing the vaccines from the hospital onto patients, and especially the elderly. And I hate to say this because we took an oath, but the reality is nurses and doctors will give you ordered vaccines, whether it's good for you or not, whether or not it harms your immune system or not. They will follow order. Can you hear me, sir?
Oh yeah, believe me, we have got all ears. We're glued.
Right. So what I'm advising people is they have clean batches of vaccines and they have dirty batches of vaccines. And you don't know what you're getting.
Wow.
And I sadly have witnessed a woman, an adult, she got measles, and when an adult gets measles, it's really serious. And it completely knocked out her immune system and her respiratory system. Okay, she was on death's door, on mechanical ventilation, and we hit her up with several vaccines. So I feel so sad to say this, but the healthcare system is not there to protect you. And indeed, you're going to have to come together to protect yourselves, and especially your young and your elderly, because doctors and nurses will pump up your elderly if they're senile or they can be bullied, and load them up with vaccine, even if it does harm. I wish that there were more ethical people. I wish that, healthcare workers would fight back, but they're not. They're caving in even for themselves because everybody wants a job. So one thing I would just like to advise people is try to do research on this thing called healing clays. There are actually clays that help the body to heal. Do research on that. And also research colloidal silver. Now, I researched colloidal silver. We used to use silver nitrates in babies' eyes. We used to use silver in burn dressing. And so colloidal silver, you can check it on YouTube. Traditional medicine will tell you it's dangerous and it's quackery and it doesn't work. I unfortunately, in my career, caught several serious things called nosocomial infections in the hospital. One was a superbug. And I can tell you that using alternative methods, I was able to heal myself. Now it's true, I know how to access and give IV therapy. I know how to make this colloidal silver. It has to be given and made the right way, given the right route in the right quantities. So we have to relearn this. It was used once and then they stopped when the pharmaceutical companies took over. But I can swear that even though the Mayo Clinic is saying it doesn't work, I am proof that it works. It works. And this is something that everybody needs to know because they are planning on locking you out of the health care for certain periods of time, where when you use a certain amount of your health care and you, quote, go over, you are locked out of the system, even if you're near death for a month or so, and people are going to have to know what to do to help themselves and their community. And colloidal silver, research that's done correctly, will help save lives. That, along with, your vitamin Ds and everything else. What they have coming in is going to be so horrible. And I'm sorry to say that again because I took an oath, but there are ways of trying to prepare and just get rid of the Ben Casey thing, because in the future, healthcare is going to be for tracking, surveillance, and depopulation. And I'm sorry to say, but that's the absolute truth.
I wouldn't too much worry about these oaths I made with these foreign wicked governments and stuff, especially now that your eyes are wide open and the Messiah is your king. Matter of fact, I would renounce the oath and keep on working undercover for the job to gather as much information as I can to get it out to the saints. So I thank you for everything you did.
Well, thank you very much, Pastor. And don't assume, I like to tell people that that MD and that nurse are your friends, because everyone is making a spiritual decision, and unfortunately, the vast majority of people are making the wrong one. And even for myself, when I was fighting the forced vaccinations, and the doctors were aware of it, I was threatened and told by doctors that we will put you in a psychiatric institution for vaccine paranoia.
They sure will.
So, yes. So, these people aren't playing. And we need to really get serious and have these skills under our belts. And I swear on my life, colloidal silver, done correctly, will help save lives. It will help with staph infections, urinary tract infections. When it doesn't work, you have to look at because it's not being administered or made correctly or the right route. In other words, you have to sometimes get it to the specific area. And truthfully, it would be good if we had a lot of renegade doctors and nurses who could help the public in the future, because some of us are not going to be able to access this health care for a number of reasons. So thank you, Pastor.
Hey, sister, I appreciate you calling in, because I know that all the saints that are still left in here, they're definitely blessed by what you said. And no doubt about it, you're all right. Hey, let me ask you this. Is there such thing as taking too much colloidal silver?
I got the colloidal silver. You broke up before that. What was that, Pastor?
Is there such thing as taking too much colloidal silver?
I'll tell you the truth in all honesty, Pastor. I got something which they refer to as the superbug. It's the staph infection. And normally you would have to go into the hospital for that, and you get like 2 to 3 weeks of vancomycin with back-to-back doses around the clock. Again, I know how to give myself IVs and things. So I was able to handle this on my own, and I took enormous quantities of colloidal silver in order to try to knock it out. And I took it what you call PO by mouth as well as IV. Now, I wouldn't advise people to start giving themselves IV. There are some things that are very important, but you can take it by mouth. You can also take it what you call a retention enema. In other words, you get like a full enema bottle and you shoot it up there and you retain it, and the colon absorbs it. For myself, as I said, I took a lot as well as different routes, and I got no reaction from it, and I'm not blue. They have something called argyria. I never turned blue. So I'd also like to say that the hospitals, and because of the antibiotics they are pushing on everybody, at one time we didn't know bugs had the capacity to fight back. But it turns out for all the antibiotics that we're taking, often for no reason, the bugs are developing an incredible resistance, and they're becoming superbugs. And as a result, this staph infection is spreading like an epidemic around the public. And for people who have this, they need to check Earth Clinic. That's a very good source which will help. Earth Clinic, I think it's .com. Anyway, yeah, it's on the internet. And they have a lot of good homeopathic remedies that work. The colloidal silver, I would have to say again, I have not found any contraindications if you make it the way you should. Are you there, Pastor?
Yeah, we're listening. We're listening because I have colloidal silver that I use from time to time, and it's from 500 parts per million.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty strong. I've learned about colloidal silver through a little bit through research and also clearly my own experience. I would handle it truthfully, respectfully, because like any medication, especially when you're making it, there are people on YouTube you have to be careful of because they'll tell you to make it with tap water, they'll tell you to add salt, and for myself, I haven't found this to be true. The people who say make it in glass, there's a heat process in terms of using it where the heat, instead of salt, will create the activity. In other words, just really research it. I have to say that some of these things we're relearning because they were forgotten. They used to use colloidal silver decades ago. When the pharmaceutical companies came up, we forgot how to use it.
Right.
And then not only that, traditional medicine came and wrote all these articles. Like I came across one in the Mayo Clinic that said, oh, it's all quackery. I can assure you on my life, it's not. Okay, I can assure you it's not. And to me, this is a skill that really everybody really must know. And that combined with the healing clays, and I would also suggest I'm learning about a new therapy called your 35% hydrogen peroxide, which again, you have to approach with the deepest respect because if you pick up the wrong concentration or you don't follow directions, you can really hurt yourself with that.
Yeah.
That is nothing. Yeah, that's nothing to play with. The hydrogen peroxide, you need to know what you're doing. And there are books that, you have to research and because that's something hydrogen peroxide will kill you. Colloidal silver will not. Hydrogen peroxide can be fatal if you do that wrong or you take the wrong concentration. But all these things are absolutely beneficial in terms of having the arsenal of self-help, medical self-help that you're going to need right now in the hospital. They are locking down every pill. They are locking down every needle. They are locking down everything. They are locking down the windows. They are creating a prison within the hospital, and they're going to make certain that the public cannot have access to hardly anything.
Sounds like to me, boy, you can't trust the system. They're going to put a spin on everything, but like I have always said, it's easy to control a sick population. They're always dependent of mass.
Yes, you broke up a little there, but I got some of it, Pastor. But yeah, the system is not our friend, and something horrific is coming, and I just urge people to try and get these skills together. And they have some great YouTube videos on the colloidal silver, and you can research it on the web. And I would combine that with the healing clays, which can be also ingested. And as you know, we're also taking in radioactivity now, sorry to say.
Yeah, we are.
So, yeah, we need all these things.
Sister, you need to call in more and give us more updates.
I'll be very happy, very, very happy to do that. As it comes out and as I see things, I'll definitely let the public know. But they have things coming around like this flu now and everything. And I would really encourage people to start, get your colored wine bottles and learn how to make your colloidal silver and have like several gallons ready, so you'll be prepared because if you make this the right way, it takes a few hours. It's no light stuff. It takes a lot of patience and everything to make a good brew. So, get ready, people. That's what I would urge them to do. So thank you, Pastor, very much for listening, and I'll definitely try to call in more as things happen, but Earth Clinic, colloidal silver, healing clays, and hydrogen peroxide therapy, and research all these things carefully and handle them with respect, and we can pull through a lot of this stuff. And vitamin D.
Susan, thank you very much.